Welcome back to the OurView Podcast. This episode is part of our Super Sports Saturday, a series of episodes that will highlight adaptive sports programs, their athletes, and those who organize these programs. My intention in creating this series of episodes is to bring awareness to the importance of inclusive play and adaptive sports, to show how sports and play are beneficial to all. I hope you enjoy this episode. On today's episode, I welcome my guest, Kai. Join our conversation as we discuss his cerebral palsy diagnosis, his love of sled hockey and karate, our mutual appreciation for music and writing, and also find out what crazy activities I agreed to participate in 2021. For this episode of the podcast, I'm starting something new. I'm starting I'm calling it Super Sports Saturdays, and where I'm going to talk about the topics on these episodes will be related to adaptive sports and athletes who play in adaptive sport programs.
Well, I'm honored to be one of your first guests on that series.
Yes, I am so happy to have you here. So my guest on today's episode is my friend Kai. So Kai is someone who I know for the last few years. Kai is going to share his experience of working with the sled hockey team that I have seen play a few times. I've seen Kai play a few times, and it's so interesting. So to start off the podcast, I always like for my guests to introduce themselves. So can you tell the listeners, people who are listening to this podcast, a little bit about yourself? Your name and your age. Uh, your what school, not what school you go to, but what grade you're in, and a couple of things that are that you like to do.
Right. Okay. So my name is Kyan Dakari. I go with my friends. I go more by Kai. And I'm currently I'm 13 years old, and I'm currently in eighth grade. School.
You're in eighth grade, you said?
Yes,
Oh,
I'm almost in high school. I'm excited for that because it's like that's like when it gets really big. I thought middle school was big, but no, high school is gonna be big.
yeah. High
big.
school is where it's at. High school is a lot of fun. I can't believe you're in eighth grade already. I met you. You and I met each other a few years ago. More than a few years ago. You were at one of the Jake's Place playgrounds, and you actually met one of the Jake's Place co-founders. You met Lynn there, and then through Lynn, you and I we got connected, and we've stayed in touch through the years. And you actually spoke at one of our Jake's Place fundraisers.
I did.
I had a friend who actually asked about you sometime last week, and I was really excited because it was right after I had reached out to your mom about doing this podcast episode, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to talk to him next week. Like, yeah. So one of my friends was asking how you had been, and how school was going for you. So I'm really I can't believe you're in eighth grade already, because that's really seems like a long time ago when we met. So it's really
You
cool.
better believe it.
Yeah. So can you tell us what your disability diagnosis is, and whatever you want to share about it and how it affects your life?
Well, I'm diagnosed with cerebral palsy. I'll just use that as an umbrella term for now because there are many different types of cerebral palsy, but the one that I have personally affects both my legs and my left arm. It doesn't really affect my right arm that much because it's like I can move it pretty freely. Um, but yeah, it affects my legs and my left arm, and I try not to focus on it that much. I don't really define myself as a kid with a disability. I just define myself as a kid really, who just has a life and has friends and family who we can trust and lean on as a person.
That's great. I really like that because, although you have cerebral palsy and it doesn't stop you from being a kid. You like doing a lot of the same things that everybody else likes doing that at your age of being 13. Speaking of that, what kind of things do you like to do with your friends?
Okay. Well, I have a lot of interests, but my main interests really fall in the categories of like science and technology, like real world science. Computer science is actually one of my really big interests. Um, and music falls in between the two, really, because of how big and relatively small those interests are, like correlated together. So my music interest falls in between the two because it's not that big, but it's not that small either.
Uh-huh. So you like
Kind of like the Goldilocks type thing, where it's like not too small, not too big, it's just right. It's small, and I'm actually I'm actually writing songs now. I have this. It's a classic cliche. Like, I have a red notebook that just has all my songs in it. There's not that many, but it's still got songs in it.
really, so you're a songwriter. I didn't know that about you.
I
That's really
mean,
cool.
see, if you want some advice on songs, try to write the chords first, because if you write the chords, then you won't get stuck on the chords after you have some some really good lyrics. Because I find it easier to write the chords first because the chords sound better than the lyrics. Because once you get the lyrics and the melody, you have to find like almost the perfect match of chords to go with that lyrics and melody.
Yeah, so you write the music first is what you're saying, right? The chords to
Well,
the and then
that's what I've learned over my time writing songs. I mean, because I have a chord progression that I've written, but I
mhm.
and then I have other songs with lyrics that I've written. I just can't find the other pieces for each one of them.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's interesting. I've talked about it in other episodes of my podcast, how music has really helped me um, get through some tough times. So have you found that music, either writing your own music or listening to music, have you found that to be helpful to you in that it helps your mood improve and it helps you feel better on some bad days?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. I'm like, whenever I hear a song that I like, I'm like, because it's like I really like that song, and sometimes, I mean, I do mainly get my music from YouTube, so I mean, I can really play any song I want that I like. So yeah, but also on the topic of writing my own music, it really helps me like become like more with my thoughts and be able to like write them down and then like I guess set it in stone, I guess, of like my thoughts and experiences, and like put them on like a paper that I eventually turn into a song.
Yeah, that's I don't I mean, I guess poetry could be turned into songs.
But
Could be
like,
used as lyrics. I write a lot of poetry, and I've been writing for a lot of many years. I've been writing poetry since I was in high school, and I agree with you. It helps you. A lot of times you're thinking about a lot of thoughts and you're feeling a lot of feelings in your head and your emotions, but actually being able to write things down is very helpful to focus yourself on what it is you're actually feeling, because you may feel sad someday, and then you can just write it and get it out, and then that helps you feel better, helps you improve your mood. So while I don't claim to be a songwriter and I don't know how to write actual music and chords and things like that, I do write a lot of poetry um, to help me get through some rough days and even my happy days, like even writing down happy feelings and things like that, I find that writing poetry does help improve my mood, no matter what I'm writing about. So that's
Right.
cool that we have somewhat have that in common, the writing part of it all.
And I mean, like you said that poetry could eventually be turned into lyrics. So I mean, if you have poetry that you want to turn into a song, like I could help you with that if you wanted to.
I think that's a great idea. I will definitely find some things and send them to you so you can help me make some songs.
I mean, because what really okay, I don't know if
Mhm.
I'm going on too long about this, but what really got me into music was unsurprisingly my music teacher for middle school, and he actually has a band of his own. So when
Oh,
I
okay.
when I don't know how I wrote what the story of my first song was, but I know it started out as a letter. But I
Oh.
have lyrics, well, some lyrics, and I have the chords. I just haven't put them together yet. That's the thing, because I can't sing over a note over chords while I'm playing it. I can sing just fine, and I
Uh-huh.
can play the piano just fine. But when it comes to putting them together, nope.
See, and that actually leads into my next question. I was going to ask if you played any instruments because you said you write chords. So you do play the piano?
Yes,
Awesome. How long have
and
you been playing the piano?
well, I forget how long ago it was when my grandmother got me my first keyboard,
Hmm.
but it was pretty long ago.
So you did you learn how to play on your grandparents' piano?
Um, no, actually, I've actually learned how to play on the keyboard because the piano keys are too heavy for me to press because my fingers aren't that strong yet.
Okay. Yeah.
So I use the keyboard more because they're easier to press and makes it easier for me to actually play the instrument.
Yeah. So and that's really great that you said your music teacher in middle school helped you become interested in music. And I think it's really important because um, the education that we receive and the teachers that we have, um, because having a disability can be rough in school sometimes. So having good teachers that help you learn things and help you discover things about yourself, like the love of music, having a love of music, I think that's really great that that teacher was able to do that for you.
But on the topic of being inspirational, one of my biggest inspirations, like overall, is probably so there was this one so I myself am a gamer, and I've been practicing, but that's not the point of the story. That's besides the point. The point of this is that about a year ago, the World Cup for Fortnite came around, right?
uh,
And there's one kid. His in-game name was Booga because I forget the reason, but he ended up winning the World Cup, and like that, his story of how he won and like how his emotions went through, like at the moment he was winning, well, winning and like leading up to like there's a video that like details the entire story of how he got interested in gaming and how he progressed up to being who he is as a
mm-hmm.
gamer. So that kind of inspires me to be great, not only at gaming, but like just in general, because of the fact that I've seen that a 16-year-old can like win the World Cup of one of the most famous games in the country right now. And
Yeah.
so now that inspires me to do what I think I can do, be the greatest I can be.
Right. And that's really it's great to get inspiration from from different people and to see what other people are doing in their life. It's can be very inspiring to you as, a fellow teenager. You said he was 16.
Mm-hmm. 16.
So yeah, so to to see him just a few years older than you, achieving that goal, I think that can be very inspirational for sure.
But
So
then
what?
again, but then again, sorry to cut you off, but
No problem.
um, I also am thinking about me as like a person compared to him because of the fact that going back to my disability, it limits my dexterity in my hands, and
Hmm.
so I have to use. Well, I have to things. I guess my brain processes the movements a lot slower, so it's harder for me to do things than it would be for a. I don't want to say normal, but like
People
typical
without a
able
people without a
able-bodied person.
disability.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so you enjoy gaming,
Mhm.
and I think that's really important because, as you just mentioned, because of your diagnosis, your dexterity in your hands is not as fast, and some of those games, I'm not familiar with all of them. I don't, I'm not a gamer at all. Never really have been for some reason. I don't know why I never got into it, but the fact that you still are able to play, and a lot of times like those games, I know they require some fast reactions to some things that may be coming at you, and you have to move out of the way, and you have to respond in some way. So I think that's really cool that you still you still challenge yourself to play those games. Talk about you express some of your interest in science. What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you see yourself being? Is it related to science or not? Or
Well, I
and
mean,
how did you come to decide of what you want to be when you grow up?
well, mainly, I think you're right in assuming that I would want to do something related to science because uh, I I'm actually working on building um games in this one engine called Unity. It's actually really popular for beginning developers, but mainly what I'm trying to do is like try to learn how to build games like from scratch, and I want to be able to eventually build and launch at least one successful game on like maybe the Apple App Store or Google Play. I don't know. If you aim for like a big goal and then you don't get as high as you would want to, like if you didn't reach that goal, it wouldn't be satisfying. But if you set yourself a small goal, then you'd be able to if you get higher than that, good for you. But if you get there, then at least you'll be satisfied with yourself, and then you'll be able to set a goal from there and on and on and on.
That is such a great point to make. Like, don't set your goals so high. Set something that you can achieve, and then from there keep going up and achieving, take the next step up. So don't think you're going to get to the top of the staircase or the top of the building right away. You're going to go each floor and achieve one goal, and then
Right.
stack that
Like
on top of the other.
the classic expression is we crawl before we walk, and then we walk before we run.
Absolutely. I enjoy you so
and
much. This is
and that
great.
and that's actually like that goes for real life too. Because like for me, before I was actually like good at walking, I was mainly crawling around the house. And then once I started picking up walking, I've been practicing that a lot. And so eventually, I might hopefully like lose the walker and then be able to walk on my own. Maybe with crutches more or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, so you have cerebral palsy, I have spina bifida. We uh you use a walker, correct?
Yes.
And I use crutches to walk sometimes. For short distances I can walk. And then we both use wheelchairs at times too. So the wheelchair for me, it's it's easier for me to get around in a lot of places.
Same
And
here.
yeah, and it's a lot safer because with my crutches, sometimes the floor, floor might be wet and I could slip and fall.
Right.
So having a wheelchair in, when I'm outside or when I'm in the store, in the mall or at the grocery store, having my wheelchair has a lot safer for me to use rather than walking. And yeah, I just heard you say same here. So it's the
Right.
same for you as well, right?
Right. Because like I mean, I don't really take my walker in that many public places. I wouldn't think
Hmm.
because just because it's a lot safer as you put it, but B, me as a teenager, I have certain, I don't know, stereotypes for people in like walkers, like saying like I mainly think that that's like kind of, no offense, but like an old people thing. Like, cause that's what I think of when I think of a walker. So like that's why I don't like to be seen in a walker that much because I don't
Hmm.
want to be seen as like incapable of doing most of the stuff I want to do. But in a wheelchair, it's a lot different because people can see me pushing myself and doing the things I need to do, like with as little help as I need to. Whereas in a walker, it's a lot more difficult because I have to focus on walking rather than actually doing the things I need to do.
Right. I definitely understand what you mean, about the, the walker and, just certain stereotypes in general that, that not only, you have and I have about, what it may appear to be, but what other people think about it as well. I think it's really, I, I, I keep saying it on this podcast, and I'll say it just so you can, hear it. I wanted to create this podcast um, so that people can see those who have disabilities as, who they are. Like you said, you have cerebral palsy, but you're just a kid. You're 13-year-old that likes to game and listen to music and is into science and all of these other things that are so important for people to know about you, but they won't, necessarily get to know that about you because they see you, on your walker, or they see you in your wheelchair, and they think, they may think certain things about you that aren't true. Because I mean, just talking to you for the last few minutes, and I've known you for a few years, and I've, had conversations with you, but I'm learning stuff about you now that I didn't know, and I think it's really cool.
It's all about perception, really.
It is. It's really all about perception, and it really is important to talk to people who are different than we are. So, if you see someone who is using a wheelchair or crutches or a walker, or someone who has a vision impairment that may have a service dog, or someone else that's in a wheelchair using the assistance of a service dog because of a spinal cord injury, it's important to talk to these people just to, um, see what they like to do and see the things that interest them. And even with, as I said, it's a little bit different. You write lyrics to songs and I write poetry, but I didn't know we had that in common. We both like to write and we both like music. So it's really, very important to have conversations with people to get to know them beyond what you may see on the outside of the outward appearance of what they appear to be. It's so much deeper than, just our diagnosis and our wheelchair use or using crutches or a walker. I know before we started recording for the podcast, um, you mentioned the virtual learning. You found it. Uh, the one thing you didn't like, or the one thing you missed, I should say, is that you missed seeing your different groups of friends at school, right?
Right.
Yeah. And how has that been different? Have you been able to stay in touch with people? And I know um, you haven't been around too many people, but how have you been able to stay in touch with your friends and even your family throughout this whole pandemic situation?
Well, what's great about this is what you just said is that my family and we do this tradition almost well, yeah, we it's I don't know if it will be a tradition, but like it's kind of now like a custom now with all
Mhm.
this virtual stuff that we do like a family check-in every Sunday just to see how everyone's doing, and we have like, this little Google Meet going on, and then we just talk about like what's going on in our lives,
Oh,
and
that's
so
great.
that's always fun. But as far as friends go, yeah, we're staying in touch. I have most of my friends' numbers, so we are able to stay in touch together. And also, I just bond over other things that we talk about and talk to each other through.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's really helpful to have this technology and the phone and the, like you said, the Google Hangouts and the Zooms and all of that to keep us all connected during this difficult time. So, can you just tell us a little bit about what sled hockey is and how you became involved with it and what position you play and all that kind of good stuff about sled hockey?
Okay, well, sled hockey is basically, well, let me just say this off the bat. Sled hockey is probably one of the coolest, most adaptive, well, one of the coolest adaptive sports to ever play, just because it's so fast paced and like it's got a lot of action. It's exciting,
It
and so
really is. It
the,
really is. It's really funny that the few times I've been there to see you guys play, it's really something that is uh really cool to see these sleds move around and you guys just really playing a hard game, a good game.
but I think now that it's like all with all the stuff going on with like coronavirus and stuff that we would we have to like only do like drills and stuff instead of actual games
Hmm.
because of contact things.
Right. So now things have changed a lot because you can't be in close contact with each other. So you have to socially distance from each other and that kind of thing. So
Improvise.
you have to improvise, yes, and you have to change things up a little bit, but you're still able to go and play a little bit, or at least be active on the ice, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's great. So with sled hockey, and please correct me if I get any of this wrong. So with sled hockey, it's for people with disabilities, and there's children, and I know your
Well, I
team
mean,
has an.
I think there's able-bodied players as well. I'm not sure, but I think it's primarily for disabilities. I'm not sure because I think there are able-bodied players
Mhm.
on certain teams,
Yeah,
but I'm not
yeah,
sure.
and you guys have. I know your team has an adult league that also plays. I know some other players on your team, and some of their parents have been asking me to join the sled hockey team.
You should though. You should. You should
I
try it.
should. I might. Maybe I'll do that in the new year. Maybe I'll join next year.
Hopefully, I'd love to see it personally. I'd love to see you be on there.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe I'll do that now. Now that it's on my podcast, maybe I have to do it and have to do a video of it. But but the sled hockey is it's really a sled that is on the ice, and I know some players are able to move themselves on the ice with the help of the stick, or I've seen some players just kind of use their hands to get around, and you have two sticks, right? Yes.
Yeah, because equal force between the two help you go straight, and then if you push one, you go the like if you push with your right, you go left. If you push with your left, you go right. Well, you have to have force if you want to actually turn instead of just because if you do it while standing, while just stationary, you just go in circles, and that's not fun at
Right.
all. Um, but um, yeah, that's the basic movement. But when you get near the puck, you have to slide your hand down on the stick, like either by using it, well, mainly by using the ice, just like push against it and slide down your hand, and then you have to move your hand back. Like I don't know if you can see it, but like you have to move it back so you can hit
Hmm.
the puck like with your hand, and eventually score. But
Yeah, so it's really it's really it's ice hockey, but instead of standing on skates, you're sitting on a sled.
right,
Is
and and
really
and and, and the sleds still have the blade just like the skates would have.
right. Yeah, and the sleds have the blade under it to help you move on the ice. And you guys, I know your team plays at the Flyer Skate Zone, um, and here in Voorhees, New Jersey. And as I said, I've seen a few of the games played there, and it's such a cool experience to witness and to see everybody's just having fun. And even though it's freezing in that arena, I know you all wear a lot of equipment though, so
Yeah,
I'm
we
sure you
got
sweat.
padding.
Yeah, you have a lot of padding and stuff, so I'm sure you sweat and all of that. But for us as spectators, I know I've been there a few times and it's really cold, but I know that's part of the experience. So, how long have you been participating in sled hockey?
For about 6 years or 6 or 7 years. Cause I joined when I was about six.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's great. So you've been with the you've been playing a really long time. What position do you play? Are there positions there like in hockey or
Yes, yes, yes. I'm personally on the offensive side of things. And I play the right wing, which is like the right offensive position. And there's also center and left wing for offense. But
wow.
I play mainly the right side. I mean, that doesn't mean you have to stay on the right side of the rink all the time. We go all around the ice. It's just
Hmm.
we stay mainly on. Well, that's like our position is just right or like wing and center.
Wow. That's really I'm so interested the in sports as far as I watch sports on TV. I watch baseball, I watch football, and then with adaptive sports like sled hockey and the Miracle League, I'm so happy that these types of programs exist for people with and without disabilities, because it's really important. Because I know for sled hockey, some of the players are able to move themselves, but then others, because of their diagnosis, are unable to move themselves. So they have to have someone that pushes their sled.
Right.
I've seen a few times a few players had someone there pushing their sled. So I think that it adaptive sport programs are an opportunity for those with and without disabilities to come together and work together to achieve the goal of you know uh, to really achieve the goal of getting a goal or in sled hockey, or hitting that home run in baseball for the Miracle League. So I think having adaptive sports programs like sled hockey is really important to talk about and to highlight the need for these types of programs for sure.
But mainly, what the coach said to me, like when I was starting out, um, and to everybody on the team who was there, um, it's not about whether you win or lose. It's just about having fun. So I guess the goal really of any sport is just to have fun, regardless of skill level. Because I mean, if you're not having fun, then why are you even playing the sport?
Exactly. And that's definitely one thing I can say. Watching you all play the sled hockey, everybody's having fun. And even me, even though I'm not actually playing, and I'm not on the ice myself, it it really is fun to watch and to see everybody get happy, and everybody's cheering you guys on. So it's really a great thing to witness for sure. um, so in addition to the sled hockey, I've been told uh, that in addition to sled hockey, I've been told that you participate in karate. Is that correct?
I do.
That's awesome. So, can you talk about that and what made you interested in karate, and how long have you been participating? And um,
Well,
yeah.
I've been participating for about, I think, 3 years now.
Hmm.
I'm not exactly sure how long it's been really. But all, but what I do know is that I'm currently a brown belt.
Oh, you're a brown belt.
Yes, and it's taken me a while to get to that level. But it just feels satisfying to even get that far. But my goal is to like go all the way. Like not not just not just get to black belt, but like there's different degrees of black belt
Hmm.
all the way up to 10. So I my goal really, I think, for now my goal is to get to a black belt because that is just awesome in itself. But
Yeah.
then I want to get to be a 10th degree black belt.
Oh,
Because
okay. You want to go all the way, like you said.
all the way, I'm all the way up. But yeah.
So for those who may be listening, and including myself, what types of things did you have to do to get to the brown belt? What
Well, you have to. What you have to do is just okay. I know this sounds cliche. But what you have to do is just pay attention, practice, and persist. Just 3 P's. Just pay attention, practice, and persist. Because I mean, if you don't practice, then you're not gonna get better. Same is true
right.
for anything. You gotta pay attention because then if you didn't pay attention, you wouldn't know what you're doing per se.
Hmm.
And if you persist, then you'll be able to keep coming up without saying, "Oh no, this is too hard. I can't do this."
Right.
And then it's like, because then you won't get anywhere, and it won't be fun, and then you're gonna have to, and you won't stop, and then you're gonna stop, and you won't be able to say, "Hey, I've gotten," like even if you've just gotten through one belt from white to yellow, that's still an achievement in and of itself.
Hmm. That's absolutely true, and
Because
it goes back to what you said too of um crawling before you walk and walking before you run. It's just taking one step at a time, and just knowing that you'll get to the next level. When you get there, you'll get there, but and it may take you some time, but it's going to happen, and you just have to be persistent, and it will come, it will happen for you. So that's a really good lesson for everybody, I think, just to um, pay attention, practice, and persist. I think that's a really good lesson for everybody to take with them in this. So, what types of with karate? Um, for karate, what types of, I don't know what they're called. Are they called like activities? Like, do you have to break boards, or
well,
what?
okay,
Mhm.
there are, I guess, three types of, yeah, yeah, three types of um sets of things that you can do. I
Mhm.
didn't know how to phrase it anywhere else. But there's something called a kata, which is like the sets of moves that you have to do like in a a succession. Like, and that's like there's different katas that um they've come up with, and
Mhm.
then there's techniques, which is like defense and stuff. It's like mainly like real like martial arts stuff, really like defense. And
Okay.
then the third thing is more of like weapons and stuff. Like there's a variety of. They gave me like a wooden sword
Oh.
for karate practice, and I literally just have it like balanced in a little I don't know what you call those things, like little holds on my wall, just sitting
Uh-huh.
there with for decoration.
And you have that just in your room, you said?
Mm-hmm. Just
Oh,
sitting
wow.
there on my wall.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, so it's really I mentioned to you before I thought about doing I thought about doing
Sorry.
some karate or technique, self-defense and all those kinds of things as well. So that might be sled hockey and karate or self-defense things. That might be something that I'll get into in the new year. We'll see.
I mean, and if you live like near like Marlton type thing, you can actually come to our American thing. I'm just saying, like it would be nice to see you just hop up there one day. And just,
You're gonna get me to do everything, Guy. You're gonna get me to do sled hockey and karate.
I mean, I mean, it's not really a life if you're not living.
This is true. This is very true.
You have to do stuff in order to say I've done this and I'm proud of myself and I'm satisfied with my life.
That is
Like
very true. So now I am motivated to get into sled hockey and also to karate. So I'm not going to do it until next year. So don't
I mean,
don't look
plus
for
you
me
just
before January.
plus you just said it to like whoever's listening in a podcast, and I think this is gonna be on what now YouTube.
Right. It's going to be on everything. It's on YouTube, Spotify.
So,
It's
so
on
you're
Apple Podcasts.
so you just told everybody who's ever gonna listen to this that you're gonna eventually take up that. So you have to keep your promise.
I have to keep my promise. You're right. So now I have to do it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate it. That's what I needed. I needed some, a little motivation to get me to commit to it. So now that I've committed to you and everybody listening, we'll make it happen in the new year. I don't know if I'll stick with it, but I will give it a try. Is that good enough? All right, so I'll give it a try. You gave me a thumbs up. What I wanted to ask about your participation in sled hockey and in karate. How does that make you feel afterwards or while you're participating? I know you said with the sled hockey, having fun is a main thing for you and for the other players as well, as that's what your coach had told you. So how does that make you feel being able to participate in sled hockey and karate?
Well, it feels awesome, really, because it's like something that I can actually do and succeed at and be great at as like a hockey player or a karate student, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they're both really good sports,
Yeah,
and
and
I'm glad I got the opportunities to do both of them.
yeah, and I know, I know for me, like just doing certain things and being able to move a little bit and staying active. I know that's helpful for me. I use my wheelchair and I wheel around sometimes outside. In the town that I live in, there's a lot of little stores and things around locally. So I'll go out, on a nice day and just wheel around in my chair just to get some exercise and some movement. So I think, I can imagine that is a good feeling for you as well when you are able to move and play the sports of, hockey and karate and just get into, something to move your body around and to help your muscles relax and not be so tense sometimes. So I'm sure that's very helpful for you. So the last question I would like to ask is, which I like to end all of my episodes like this with this same question, and that is, what do you want the world to know about people who have disabilities?
I want them to know that regardless of what you see is not always what you get. I mean, that may be true for like when you buy stuff online or like when you like buy stuff in stores. But for people, no. What you see is not what you get. What you see is only like our outward appearance. So if we look different, that should be an invitation. hey, this person looks different. Let's go talk to them, see what they have to offer, and
Right.
see what they can, see what we can do if we like become friends. You know.
Right. I really I like that because it's really true. And that's one of the things I mentioned a little earlier is, just it's an invitation to talk to people, talk to someone who doesn't look like you, and get to know them beyond what you see and what you think about them, and actually get to know something about them. So it's really no, that's really important to emphasize that uh, talking to other people who don't look like you, I think, is a really important thing to share with the world. So thank you for that answer.
Well,
Yeah, so I'm really happy that you joined me for this episode today, and really excited for everybody to hear your story and to hear your experience of living with cerebral palsy, and just having the determination that you have to do all of the fun things that you do with sled hockey and the karate. I think that's very like I said, you motivated me definitely to to really get myself in gear and to do something, and to really experience something new. I think because it's something that when I was your age at 13, they didn't really, I won't say they didn't exist, but it was hard to find activities and sports for people who have disabilities in the area that I lived in.
right.
They weren't as popular and they weren't well known like they are now. Really great to see, and it's great to hear your story and your experience and how that, your involvement in these sled hockey and karate programs really help you. Like I said, you've encouraged me, and so everybody stay tuned for Art takes on sled hockey and karate in 2021.
Well, I'm glad to share. I'm glad to share my experience of that with you. So, well,
Yeah. So, but thank you so much for your time. And, I'm really excited that you were able to join me today and to share this experience with you. And as I mentioned, I've learned so much from you, and I really appreciate your time today. So, you take
you're welcome.
care, and yeah, and you take care, and we will see each other soon.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of the OurView Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the OurView Podcast on Anchor, Apple Podcast, or Spotify. New episodes will be released on the 15th and 30th of every month. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at OurView for Life. That's OurView, the number 4, LIFE. Do you want to help change the tone of conversation among your family and friends? Head over to our website for some OurView merchandise. Our website is www.our-view.com/merchandise. I thank you for listening. Have a great day and take care.